The Acolyte. Ooh, coming up to the finale now. Who's excited? I'm not. Is it going to rise to a fated crescendo? I very much doubt it. Ooh, can the last 2 episodes redeem it? Probably not. Though it would be kind of funny if it did. I'm rooting for you, Leslie Headland. I want a season 2.
Do it.
Episode 3 gave us this scene.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
And that in turn generated this parody.
If you only knew the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
The Acolyte was frankly worth it just for that. It makes me laugh far too much every time I watch it. And I came to a shocking realisation about The Acolyte while writing reviews about it. Now bear with me here, because I realise this may be a lava hot take, because lots of people are talking about how awful The Acolyte is. And the hot take is, I've seen worse. Where would I put The Acolyte on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, I realise that I can't give it a 1 because I'm still watching it, and I'm probably going to watch it to the end. Whereas I tried to review the series Velma some time ago, and I stopped watching it after I think 2 and a bit episodes, because I just felt at the time like I owed it to myself to not watch that show any longer. So The Acolyte, therefore, must be better than Velma to me, because I haven't turned The Acolyte off in disgust yet. Therefore, The Acolyte can't be rock bottom, because Velma has to go below it. I'm not so sure that IMDb is far off with its 3.5 out of 10 for The Acolyte. And what's Velma on again? A 1.6, oh dear. Now, in my review of the last episode, I wondered why all of the male characters in The Acolyte are quite feminine.
Everything all right, Master?
What did they say?
Seems an Umbra moth colony hatched last night and wreaked havoc on a local settlement. If the Jedi had been anywhere near that colony, that could explain a large amount of casualties.
And I wondered if Leslie Headland had a problem with writing masculinity. And I also doubt feminine men will really bring in that female audience that Disney seems to want so much. But I thought about it more, and there actually are masculine characters in The Acolyte already. The most masculine character in the show, I would argue, is played by Leslie Headland's real-life wife. It's a show where the male characters are notably feminine, and the female characters are notably masculine. Don't worry though, the show isn't queer with a capital Q, according to Leslie Headland, the showrunner, whatever the hell that means.
Amanda, we asked you if you had read any of Leslie's fan fiction.
The next thing that I'm gonna do is ask Leslie for the fan fiction that she wrote as a kid.
And we'll leave it at that.
So this is something that we both do, is write fan fiction for fun.
That's right, Disney took $180 million and gave it to a very literal fanfic writer, and given the nature of last episode, probably a slash fiction writer. And who would have guessed we got shipping? And frankly, I'm finding it kind of weird that Leslie Headland seems to find the Sith a bit of a turn on. Now, I have a medical condition. It's very specific. It comes on mainly when I look at, among other things, Ana de Armas and a key pow. It causes considerable, uncomfortable swelling and an excess of fluid that needs to be extracted from my body. And I feel that Nurse Ana de Armas would be the ideal person to do that. So, Anna, if you're in the market for a man who's frankly a real fixer-upper, I'm right here and waiting. Anna seems kind of lovely, but you know who doesn't? Sheev Palpatine. Ladies, I know a lot of you like a bad boy, but you should probably draw a line at having creamy Sheev fantasies. I know he was rich, I know he was ambitious, he was also evil. And know before you say it, like Khmer in The Acolyte, I don't think you could fix him. The idea of a woman having feelings for a man like Khmer that she just watched break the neck of one of her oldest friends last episode seems far-fetched no matter how good he looked without his clothes on. Ah, but Leslie Headland was in Digital Spy, saying it would be impossible for her queerness not to be reflected in the upcoming Star Wars TV series. The Acolyte is a show of many contradictions. It's a show where the best actor in it's the guy from Squid Game playing Master Sol. And arguably the worst actor in it is the guy from Squid Game playing Sol.
Hey! You survived.
You killed Indara.
And how is that possible, you may ask? Well, he can clearly act, but at the same time, really struggles with English in places. From here on, there will be spoilers. At the end of last episode, Sol was about to tell May what happened on the planet where her whole witch cult family expired when she was a child. And in this episode, he still doesn't. The episode is the anticipated second flashback that's from the perspective of the Jedi and was supposed to make the Jedi look bad. But I watched it, and no, I pretty much still blame the witch cult for everything. The episode doesn't at all do what the makers seem to think it does. It's like when I've reviewed programmes that try to push feminism in the past, and that was the stated objective of the show, and then they unwittingly make women look horrible in that series. It's like a series called The Power that I'm not sure anyone watched, where women gained the power to electrocute people with their hands, and it turned them into sadistic monsters, and they destroyed all human civilization.
Way to set feminism back a few decades.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you have a better idea?
In this episode, we find out that the Jedi were not there on the Witches' planet to persecute the witches at all. They were in fact sent there because of some sort of weird force disturbance in the area that had happened and had turned the planet that was without life into a forest with animals to hunt in under 100 years. Okay, that's a bit miraculous. Did the witch cult do that? Or did they only choose the planet because of it? I don't know. What's also miraculous is that finally, in episode 7, Abigail Thorne actually gets a line, and when you see it, you may realise why Abigail Thorne only got one line.
You cannot allow Osha to go. She has chosen it.
Now, Abigail is trans and is a much more successful YouTuber than I am, with a channel called PhilosophyTube that has 1.57 million subscribers. So for representation, it may seem like a great idea to cast Abigail as an actor in your production, but it may be an issue if they can't actually act. The Jedi have been on the Witches' planet for 7 weeks, searching the planet on foot. They have a spacecraft, so why are they searching the planet on foot? It's like the show can't decide on what technology is available to them. They have faster than light travel, they have artificial intelligence, they have galaxy-spanning communications networks, but the only way to find a Wookiee they've mislaid in a forest is to produce a rat beaver creature called Basil and have him sniff out the Wookiee they're looking for like a pig snuffling the ground in search of truffles. This does not compute. Master Sol sees the twin girls that the witch cult created, and how are the witch cult not just bad guys? Trying to make a powerful child using artificial means is kind of, well, eugenicsy. And when Sol sees the girls, May is using the Force to torment a helpless woodland creature. The cult also marks their children with dark magic and won't let them leave. Sol convinces the Jedi to go and check out the witch cult, and they're immediately aggressive. The witch's leader, Anastasia, invades the mind of the youngest Jedi, Torben, to try and manipulate him into doing what she wants by using his desire to leave and go back to his home on Coruscant. And in doing this, she needlessly sets in motion everything that's going to happen. How are the witches not the bad guys in this story? If you don't want them to be viewed that way, maybe don't have them going around brainwashing people to get what they want. Though it's frankly no shock that Disney would not see that as being a bad thing. The witches are so aggressive in part because they think the Jedi want to take their children. And the Jedi don't even really care about their children apart from Sol, because the kids are too old to be Jedi anyway. The Jedi are only worried because the witches are acting very weird and very aggressive and seem to have started their own cult and eugenics program. Sol wants to help Osha and he thinks she may be in danger, and he wants to test the girls to see if they're force sensitive. And Dara says that kids are too old anyway and wants to get instructions from the Jedi High Council on how to proceed. And they tell the Jedi on the planet to just stay away from the witches altogether, and that they've interfered too much already. Then the whole tragedy unfolds because people just won't obey orders. The Jedi run blood tests on the twin girls, and from this they know that the girls have been artificially created because their, quote, symbionts are the same.
Wait, their symbionts are the same?
They are twins?
No, exactly the same.
Even identical twins would have different symbionts.
Whatever the hell that means, the show never bothers to explain, and Torben goes racing off on his own because he wants to prove that the creation of the children is what caused the Force disturbance, so he can then go home to Coruscant, which seems to become a frantic desire for him after the witch got into his head. So Master Endara sends Sol after him to stop him reaching the twins, when Torben is her student, and Sol also wants to take the twins as well. So she sent the one person to stop Torben who would be committed to not stopping him. Why did she not order Torben to stop when he first got on the speeder bike? I don't know. Why did she not go herself? I don't know that either. Meanwhile, the twins' other mother with the horns is also not obeying orders, and as the witches prepare for battle, she gets May angry enough at Osha for leaving that May sets their house on fire, but this time it's shown as more like an accident. And then when Sol and Torben arrive and hear screaming and the fire, Sol doesn't stop Torben. The Horned Lady is already spoiling for a fight so much that the witches are pointing bows at the Jedi as soon as they enter the building. And when the other mother tries to calm things down, Sol thinks she's up to no good and lightsabers her through the chest. So is she done? Well, I watched Ahsoka where the same thing happened to Sabine Wren, and she was fine after a doctor visit and a few hours in bed. Palpatine got thrown into space, exploded and disintegrated in Return of the Jedi, and still somehow returned alive, then got disintegrated again, and rumour has it, may be back for the next film again anyway. I can see Mother Anisea coming back again, because Kimir's powers were a lot like hers, and look at the promotional material. Why is she up front if she's only in 2 episodes and a flashback? I would not be at all shocked if she was in episode 8, but frankly, after Ki-Adi-Mundi turning up canonically before he was supposed to even be born, I wouldn't be at all shocked at this point if Kimir's master turned out to be Palpatine, who gets disintegrated again in this series. So they may just have Sheev turn up again, say I am all the Plagueis, and then get evaporated for the umpteenth time. The other witches then attack Torben and Sol, then they all together possess the Wookiee Jedi Kelnaka, who attacks Torben and Sol, in a frankly not very good fight scene. It's really quite slow, and here at this point I'm not sure why the possessed Wookiee didn't just cut Torben in half. Endara finally arrives and frees Kelnaka from the possession, and that seems to do in all of the other 30 or so witches. Why? I don't know. Did Endara even know that would happen? I don't know that either. So this fits into the story, or fails to, in which May is seeking revenge on 4 Jedi, and this episode was supposed to justify and explain why, and then didn't. Because the Wookiee did nothing to hurt the witches whatsoever. He stood around on their planet looking furry for a bit, they possessed him, he did nothing, and then ended up on a hit list. Torben didn't do so much either, apart from get possessed by the witches and stop their arrows when they tried to shoot him. Why was he guilty enough to poison himself? This just doesn't work. Maybe Endara deserved the revenge, if she even knew what would happen when she tried to free Kelnaka from the possession, and Sol was too keen to help and wouldn't follow orders and lightsabered someone. He's the only one of the 4 where revenge is in any way justified. So that's 7 episodes of 8 down now, and it's looking even less like this series is going to reach any kind of satisfying conclusion. So can episode 8 redeem it after all? Probably not, no. Disney, I can see no way around this. You'll just have to do a 2nd season of The Acolyte, with Darth Plagueis being played by Abigail Thorne.
If you only knew the power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many.
Of course!